Welcome back to the Commerce Collective, a podcast brought to you by Flywheel. You're listening to This Month Above the Fold, a monthly series on the Commerce Collective feed where Patrick Miller, co-founder of Flywheel, covers the most important e-commerce stories each month, and this is your April 2024 recap. I'm Emma Irwin, senior editor and specialist at Flywheel. Let's get into it. I have to update you. So I didn't end up buying that Temu couch that I said was like $100. And first reason, more important reason, is that it seemed wasteful. But then second reason, which I'm embarrassed based on the job that I have, is that it was a blow-up couch. It was a blow-up couch. So of course.
Come on, for $100, that's worth it. Just for content. You can put it on Uncle Duncan's credit card and it'll be fine.
Narrator Emma here. In case Uncle Duncan flew over your head, that's just our CEO. So I'm adding acquire Uncle Dunk's credit card digits to buy inflatable couch from Temu to my to-do list. Never a dull day out here in the land of commerce. Okay, maybe next month we'll have the blow-up Temu couch. All right, so today we are covering what we think is worth talking about in regards to Walmart's affluent customers. We're also going to talk about Amazon's grocery redo, and then we're going to do a little bit of an earnings preview. So, for story number one, the affluent Walmart customer. Who are they? Why do we care? And context for the audience is that Walmart has been seeing share gains, specifically, I believe, in Q1 in the affluent shopper market. And Numerator has been seeing this noticeable Walmart Plus membership acceleration in this group of customers. But my question for you is, so what? What's going on here?
Sure. So Walmart is just doing a phenomenal job of, capturing more affluent customers. And if you think about traditional Walmart shopper tends to be less affluent, a lot of rurals, but there are 4,800 Walmart stores and they've announced that they're going to add more. What all of these stores have is the ability to do click and collect or delivery to home. And so within Walmart stores, you have great selection, you have great price, and oh, by the way, can now get delivered to your front door for a modest cost of about $10 a month. And so, Walmart is increasingly using, sort of click and collect to be point of market entry to then sort of spread over to the marketplace, where it will ultimately then realize, a higher gross margin business. One of the things I like to do is just sort of on recycle day is either drive or bike around various neighborhoods and just see like what's in the recycle bins. And because everybody puts their logos on the boxes. And I've just been noticing more and more, Walmart boxes coming into my neighborhood, which is a suburb of Baltimore. And so it's like, so you didn't see that a few years ago. And so certainly seeing, more and more customers shifting to Walmart. And it's a smart strategy, for Walmart. I think during the pandemic, Instacart did a lot of legwork of, showing people, hey, you can buy groceries, online and it's a good experience and it gets delivered to your door. But the price on Instacart is high because it is a marketplace. The retailers set the price on Instacart. And then you can see that Instacart's doing a head nod to admit that things are high because it will have little flags that say in-store pricing for certain retailers. And when a retailer doesn't, the retailer is increasing the price, sole discretion of the retailer, and then is passed on to the customer. So the customer is seeing the higher prices on Instacart. And it's sometimes, and you'll even sometimes like you order Instacart and then you'll have the receipt in the bag. And then you look at like what you paid for an Instacart and it's just like, oh God, like that was a lot more. And so Walmart is then offering, the same prices, as in store. And so they're just pulling in these customers that got, in my mind, and oh, by the way, Walmart's actually using Instacart as well. So they're even using Instacart to then pull these folks in. And so, I just see them pulling in more and more affluent customers and expect that they'll probably talk about their earnings in a few weeks.
For sure. And your note on seeing more and more Walmart boxes in the recycling bins of your neighborhood. When I was living back home in New York, that was also going on. Like it was for a long time. You only saw the Prime logo in people's garbage or recycling or on the side of the road. And more it became Walmart and Walmart Plus. And it's like, this is actually quite fascinating because down here in Arkansas, you don't see as many Amazon logos, rightfully. So, but it has been interesting because like noticing stores down here, like, you don't really have anywhere else to shop. So you do see a ton of affluent looking consumers in stores, which is very different from where I grew up in New York and a totally different experience for Walmart.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to, they're going to continue down this path, and in certain ways, it's nothing but upside, for Walmart, because these are customers they hadn't had before. And then they also become more valuable. When you think about it in the context of the pending acquisition of Vizio, these more affluent customers are much more valuable to advertisers. And so as Walmart then captures them, they'll then be able to then enjoy the benefit of that via Vizio advertising. And oh, by the way, because they are all paying with credit cards and they're logged in, it's an addressable market, and it's also a cohort of customers that Walmart can easily drive insights around to because they're identifiable.
For sure. I have a feeling we'll come back to some of these things when we do an earnings
yes,
preview.
It's a big grocery day. Grocery days are the best days.
Yes. Okay. Moving into story number 2, similar but different retailer, Amazon's grocery redo. We've seen all kinds of coverage in the last month or so on Amazon, getting back to building new fresh stores after, I believe, like an 18-month pause. Then there's coverage of Amazon doesn't know what to do with their stores. And then now we've got a subscription-based grocery delivery. So let's start with your overall take on what's going on with Amazon Fresh and its grocery endeavors in general. Like, can this really be a thing?
So I've not been into a fresh store recently. I have a 3 and a 4-year-old. So going into a grocery store with both of them sounds like hell. So we're very reliant on delivery around here, but I do all the grocery shopping in my house and obsess over it. And so, over the weekend, sort of last week, Amazon announced a new delivery service where you can get groceries delivered to your house, for basically $10 a month on top of your Prime membership. And if you're a SNAP, slash EBT, i.e. food stamps, card holder, 50% off. So they're basically doing the opposite of Walmart. Amazon's really good with the affluent customers, and they're trying to get the less affluent customers. So they're doing 50% off to pull those customers in. And Amazon is setting it up as a marketplace. When you open up the grocery app, the first thing you see is, 4 tiles, for me. So I see, Fresh, I see Whole Foods, I see Everyday Essentials, i.e. the old Prime Now, and then I see Wise Supermarket. And so Wise Supermarket, local grocer, mid-market grocer, but they're listing on Amazon. And so, I'm not privy to the fees that they're charging, but my bet is that Amazon is making the case to grocers, hey, we'll list your items and we're going to do it for less money than Instacart. And we have a bigger, install base, a customer base. So you should then benefit from it. So they're going after selection, both on the individual SKU level, as well as from a marketplace and getting additional retailers. Experience on it, Instacart's great at like all these different surfaces, and they're getting better and better at buy it again. And, they have really high ad load, and they focus on the shopper customer experience, and sort of like they give a name to the shopper, and you also as a customer rate them, dialogue with them. Amazon, it's a bit more faceless, but extremely efficient. And so on Amazon, if I compare the experience on Amazon versus Instacart, whoever the PM is at Amazon, like they shopped a bunch on Instacart because they've redone the entire UI, more surfaces, more horizontal surfaces. It's easier to sort of go down the various aisles. It's less search based, very similar to Instacart, less ad load than Instacart, which is unsurprising. And there's less focus on, hey, the shopper as a person. And it's more just, hey, get me my stuff, sort of experience of it showing up. I was actually kind of like neat little, sort of for it's getting hot here. And then so ice and refrigerated stuff, but it's all cardboard. So it's easily recyclable. So you don't have to deal with the gel packs. I was actually impressed they kept the Wise branding on the bag. It wasn't just a Prime bag going in there, which is similar to like what you see within Instacart. Instacart, the bags are with the grocer. And so, if I'm a grocery store, like I want to maintain that customer relationship. And so like what the bag is and what that experience is really important. And so Amazon's sort of trying to combine the two of them. Pricing is really sharp on Prime. And then, Wise was decent. And then Whole Foods continues to be premium, but it was a nice experience ordering from them. The buy it again feature on Amazon isn't like, it doesn't remember my ASINs from before. So that was kind of a crummy experience, but I got to figure that somebody's going to figure that out at some point. Instacart's gotten a lot better where you can like do buy it again and do aisles, which is really nice. For a long time, the sort feature didn't really work on Instacart, but it's getting a lot better. And then and then you think about pricing. So they're all like right around, sort of similar prices in the sense that Walmart Plus is like $13 a month, Insta's 10, and then Amazon is 10 as well, but that's on top of your Prime membership. So Amazon is clearly going after Instacart here. And the day they announced, the Instacart stock shed about, I want to say like 10-ish%. So it was a pretty substantial, it had a really good run, but they certainly, the market saw this as an attack on Instacart.
I was just going to ask like what you think this kind of means for Instacart in the long run, because I feel like Amazon can do it. Like Amazon can take it over if they want, but is that actually what's going to happen?
Well, I don't know if they can because it depends on the grocers. And so for the grocers, they would have to then say, hey, Amazon, you're my friend. You're not going to come after me later. They look at the carcass of Toys R Us or Target that had partnerships with Amazon, only for Amazon to go and do it themselves. And if I were them, I'd be a little bit hesitant. And so whereas, Instacart is very clearly saying, hey, we're a three-sided marketplace between, the shopper, the end customer, and the retailers and serving all of them. But if Amazon has the active users and the price is lower, and oh, by the way, they also have the better network. And this is where I think it becomes key around like them launching everyday essentials on the app. This is possible because they have more one-day shipping than they've ever had before because of the regionalization of the network. And then they can then sort of layer on top of that the individual shoppers who can then go into the grocery store. So it's a summing effect of the logistics networks and the shoppers on top of it that then create a really, great experience for people. And then ultimately, like what we're seeing sort of at a macro level is customers are consolidating trips, and they're looking for best price. They're more and more deal driven. And I think Amazon has an opportunity to take share here as they relaunch their grocery efforts.
For sure. I'm disappointed. I went to try and see if I could order groceries from Amazon, but with the Rogers, Arkansas location, I got a nice little error message that was like unavailable. I was like, yeah, but they're building a Whole Foods across the street from me, so maybe things will change. I'm actually impressed.
They'll deliver, I'm sure.
Yes, love my Whole Foods. We love all the retailers, of course.
I love all the great groceries. The best. It's so much fun.
True that. Okay, so story number 3. Moving on, we're going to do an earnings preview because based on when the retailers actually report, we can't fit it into this month. But I think it'll be fun to do a preview now. And then at the end of May, we can actually see what was right, what wasn't right. But I'd love to know first what you're kind of expecting overall, or you can start with Amazon and we'll go down the list. But your expectations for these earnings.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to group Walmart and Amazon together. I think they're going to be the net winners from a retail perspective. The customer is, still the headache of inflation. It's moderated, but it's absolutely still there. And, Amazon and Walmart my expectation is that they're the net benefits of this. Customers are consolidating trips and they're looking for sharp prices. And that is, absolutely Walmart's core strength, and increasingly, Amazon, focused on that as well. And also sort of the deals. And so Amazon had the spring event, net new event, very focused on beauty. Amazon's been pulling in more and more beauty brands, including some prestige brands. I believe Clinique recently signed on Amazon. So it's not just daily drivers, it's also increasingly luxe. And so as they're able to pull them in, that's net new selection. And oh, by the way, it's a high margin business. It's a great one for Amazon to get. I also, expect that Amazon and Walmart take share from Chewy, that they are, again, it's the challenge with Chewy, great experience, wonderful customer service, but it's a secondary trip. And so if I have the same selection and the same or better price on Amazon or Walmart, why am I going to go to Chewy? And so I think that's for all the other retailers, it's like selection is the existential question. And then I even think back to 4 or 5 years ago, Apple and Nike, made divergent decisions. Apple decided to list on Amazon, Nike decided to pull back on Amazon and other retailers and focus on their D2C. And now there's reports of Nike, saying, hey, we are now, working back with other retailers again. No talk of them listing on Amazon that I've heard. And then Apple made just the killer decision of listing on Amazon. And my guess is, I've never seen their numbers, but like I doubt they're selling a whole lot of phones on Amazon, but what they are selling is a ton of accessories. And so, that just becomes a great distribution point for Apple. And then who's also been really smart, with how they deal with Walmart. Apple lists, it has a unique selection, on Walmart around a MacBook Air, and it's the lowest priced Apple item that you can get. And you can't get it at Amazon, you can't get it at apple.com. And so I think the savvy brands are thinking through, selection and using that as a way to drive growth across various retailers. But at the end of the day, I still think Amazon and Walmart are going to be the biggest beneficiaries during this earnings season.
What about Target? What do you think it's going to look like for Target?
I don't understand what Target's doing on a bunch of different vectors, going back to when they made a decision to go to Canada instead of doing e-commerce. If I look at Amazon's strategy and Walmart's strategy, I refer to it as the barbell strategy, in the sense that if you think of the gross margins of an advertising business, it's what do you build, where do you partner, what do you buy? and what is the biggest unlocks. And in my mind, it's two ends of the spectrum. It is the very down funnel, i.e. sponsored products, and the very up funnel, i.e. television. And so Walmart and Amazon, have built out their own sponsored products in-house and are building out upper funnel and owning their own. For Walmart, they're owning the television. For Amazon, they have Fire, and then they're also increasingly rights on sports. They're talking about them getting into the NBA. And so it's like it's far upper and far lower. And I look at Target, and Target's focused kind of in the middle. And, they partner with their sponsored products, which is great, gets them off the ground faster, but it's not going to unlock the gross margins long term. So sort of like, why not build that in-house? They have a great product with Roundel and sort of ability to monetize that TBD. They don't have the same selection, as Amazon or Walmart, but they're wonderful at private label and house brands. But it's sort of like, how do you drive that discoverability? How do you drive that Target atmosphere and pulling customers in, especially if they're not as sharp on price, as Walmart is. So I think Target's is a net share loser, and it has been, for the past couple of years. I mean, my hope is I see them, doubling down on their private label, on their exclusive brands, give people a reason to go into the shop for items besides just CPG and discover them. But if they do that, they can do great. But again, it's within the context of price, which will be a challenge in this economy.
We do have a Target out here, and I actually every other week or so do go to Target because there's one private label brand granola bar that they make that I love, and that is what brings me into the store, is to go buy that because I cannot get it anywhere else.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, we get a bunch of our kids' clothes from Target, wonderful. I think Cat and Jack, I think is the name, but it's great quality, good price. That's what Target's wonderful at, and it's just, I think for them, but it's just tough in that they're sort of in the middle right now, as opposed to sort of at the far ends of Amazon or pure specialty retailer. And so I don't think it's going to be great for Target, but, happy to be, would love to be wrong.
For sure. Okay. I think that kind of wraps us up. I would love to know what your favorite story is out of the three.
I just think grocery in general is that's the opportunity across all these platforms, how they're pricing it, how they're delivering it, what are they building out themselves, how are they creating the networks? It's just fascinating time for grocery, and what does the customer ultimately want?
And that's it for this month's e-commerce news. Tune into next month's episode for the latest and greatest, what truly belongs above the fold in e-commerce news. I'm Emma Irwin, and I will see you next time.